Hello, and today we're bringing to you a focus on the new RM11-03, a watch introduced quite recently by Mille, and we jumped on the occasion because the watch featured in this video is the very first one that the new Mille boutique here in Geneva received. And as this watch was making a very short touch and go, well, this was a unique opportunity to showcase this new version. For me, the RM11 is for sure part of this small club of iconic watches such as the Royal Oak, the Oyster, the Nautilus, the Speedmaster, the Portuguese, the original design that is, and a few others naturally. Well, the common denominator of these watches is that they are immediately recognizable, but I would add that the RM11 is probably the newest member in this prestigious club as it was first introduced in 2007. Being an icon also implies that they are often copied or serve as an inspiration to other brands trying to get close to them, and there are naturally, and I would say unfortunately, many examples of this. But again, being followed means that you are the leader of the pack, and some twisted-minded people could say that it's an homage, kind of a simple excuse nevertheless. So let's get back to this new RM11, as it takes quite a bit of courage to touch an icon. Think of the Porsche 911. For many aficionados, the iconic 911 stopped with the 993, especially with the Turbo edition, and when Porsche introduced the 996, people cried and shouted out loud that this was the end of the 911. The serious revamp brought with this 996 is probably not the best example of a successful evolution of an iconic design. The first models looked pretty dull, I think, and it's only quite recently, I think, that Porsche has gotten that little thing special back in the 911. So when Mille decided to revamp the RM11, this was quite a challenging decision, but they had gotten some pretty good feedback from customers on some previous RM models that kind of led the way to some of the evolution seen in this -03 version. The most noticeable new design feature comes with the case, as the edges are no longer linear but takes design elements first seen with the second generation of the RM27 Rafael Nadal ultralight tourbillon watch, the -01. This feature was then seen and made more obvious on the baby Nadal, the RM35-01, with its NTPT carbon case. Well, from now on, this feature is fully part of the new -03 and makes it even more so distinctive. It gives it a slightly more sporty and aggressive feel to it, but at the same time, I think it also makes it a bit more elegant and refined. Then, as with most Mille watches, you clearly recognize the very technical design dimension of these watches, in particular with this automatic flyby chronograph movement and its high-tech feel to it. So the push buttons have also evolved, and they are now protected with this NTPT material, and the crown looks a bit more like a sports car rim, something obviously very dear to the brand, with their many involvements in the race car world, with their partnership, for instance, with the Formula One McLaren team, that's one of the most noticeable one, but as well as with a few racing drivers, such as with newly retired Formula One driver Felipe Massa, who generally wore his RM11 during races. So with this crown you have three available positions or functions: one to wind up the watch additionally to the automatic feature, another position to set the time, and the final one to set the date. As with previous models, this new -03 uses a lot of titanium components, from base plate to the characteristic adjustable rotor with its two wide gold wings to give it the necessary inertia needed to wind up your watch, and that you can adapt depending on your wearing habits. But again, not you, but a watchmaker can do this for you. The border of the date indicator has also changed and is a little bit less aviation inspired, I think. It's a bit more classic and elegant, and there's also a bit more depth within the dial. You feel more the different layers in it. Well, and as a sport watch, it naturally comes with a rubber strap, with a fancy titanium folding clasp, and the power reserve is set at 55 hours for this movement, beating at 4 Hz. So I don't know what you think about it. Personally, I really like it, and I must admit that the RM11 has always been on my wish list. I think it just looks super cool. Well, all those dreams I have, but at least I got the privilege of seeing it up close and personal, and we haven't been that many on this planet to have yet done this. So thanks for your time, and see you real soon.